Today, we're diving into something pretty fascinating: corporate influence in the world of oil and gas. We're going to pull back the curtain and look at how one set of rules is trying to make everything a lot more transparent. When you think about oil and gas, what comes to mind? Probably massive rigs, right? Huge drills, complicated machinery. But what if the most powerful tools in this entire industry aren't tools at all? Yeah, exactly. We're talking about lobbyists, lawyers, and all those corporate policies. The real power, it's often found in quiet conference rooms and in the halls of government. That's where the real rules of the game get written. So, how do we get a peek behind that curtain? Well, there's a set of guidelines called the SASB standards, and their whole goal is to make this kind of influence totally transparent. So today, let's break down exactly how they do that. All right, so before we can really get into the nitty-gritty, we've got to understand the rule book. First things first, what in the world are SASB standards? Think of it like this. SASB created 77 different playbooks, one for pretty much every industry out there. And these playbooks tell companies exactly how to report on sustainability stuff. We're talking everything from climate change to how they treat their workers, but specifically the stuff that could actually hit their bottom line. It's all about showing investors how sustainability connects to the money. Okay, so there are 77 of these playbooks. We're going to zoom way in and focus on just one, the one that's at the heart of our topic today. We're looking at the oil and gas services industry. Now, these aren't the household names you see at the gas station. Nope. These are the companies working behind the scenes. They're the ones doing the actual drilling under contract, building those enormous rigs, and providing super important services like seismic surveying that make the whole exploration thing even possible. So for this industry, the playbook covers a ton of ground: emissions, water management, worker safety, you name it. But we're going to laser focus on one area in particular: management of the legal and regulatory environment. Honestly, this is where things get really interesting, because this is all about corporate influence. And let's be clear, this isn't just about playing by the rules that are already there. Oh no, it's about shaping the rules for the future. For these companies, navigating the world of regulations is a very, very high-stakes game. I mean, even the SASB standard points this out directly. It says that when companies try to influence laws, it can seriously backfire on their reputation. And this all ties into a really key idea: the social license to operate. Basically, that's the unspoken trust a company has from the public, the permission slip from society that lets them do business at all. So you can see the dilemma, right? Companies are always doing this balancing act. On one side, you have massive risks. We're talking investor backlash, a damaged brand, or maybe getting stuck on the wrong side of a new policy. But on the other side, the opportunities are huge. Think financial incentives, getting a leg up on future policy, and basically shaping the rules of the game to your advantage. Okay, so it's a total balancing act. We get that. But what do these SASB standards actually make companies tell us? What do they have to reveal about how they're trying to influence policy? Well, the standard lays out 4 main things they have to talk about. First, how new policies might change their whole business model. Second, if they're developing new tech because of regulations. Third, any big operational changes they're making. But the fourth one, this is the big one. They have to describe their direct influence, how they interact with regulators and lawmakers. This is where the sunlight really starts to shine in. And it gets even more specific. The standard asks a really sharp question. Hey, does what your company says in public actually match what your powerful industry groups are lobbying for behind the scenes? Companies now have to come clean about whether those two things line up, and that can tell you a whole lot about what they really care about. So why should we care about any of this? What's the big deal? Well, it's because all this information ties directly back to public trust. And public trust, that has a very real impact on a company's bottom line. Yeah, it all circles back to that social license to operate we talked about. Look, if a company loses the trust of its community, its customers, or its investors, its entire business is on shaky ground. Think of these disclosures as a tool, a way for all of us to check in and see how much trust that company has actually earned. So, what's the main takeaway for you? If you're an investor, this stuff helps you spot long-term risks. If you're just a curious member of the public, it shows you if a company's actions actually line up with their slick marketing campaigns. It's really a window that lets us see how these massive companies try to balance making a profit with what we, the public, expect from them. It's all about reputation and trust. And that leaves us with one final big question to think about. When a company works hard to influence our laws, are they just doing smart business and managing risks for their investors? Or
Are they actually rewriting the rules that every single one of us has to live by?